Third-party security. This is mentioned in many security frameworks as a special topic, even though I think nowadays with all the offshore sourcing or insourcing, outsourcing, there's always a third party involved to some extent. I mean, technically, if you roll out a new system, you have the developer, you have the integration partner, you have maybe some business consultants that are helping to change the business processes along the way with the implementation of the new system, doing the change management for you in the company. So all these are third party uh, that you may have to assess. We have a separate episode on this talking about due diligence. That's a good thing. If you look into one of the ISO 27001 categories, which is called Information Systems Acquisitions, Development, and Maintenance, that is that main category where you can find a good blueprint how to assess that business partner you're dealing with, especially in terms of IT. And yeah, I mean, you have to see what kind of service they deliver and what kind of system they are helping you to establish or to maintain and run. Based on that, you may have some variety in terms of what are you actually focusing on availability and response time, or is it on quality and depth of their service, professionalism, or they have to be more foresightful and have a futuristic view because your company is just doing day to day, or the other way around, you have to be very stable in day to day because you're the one that does the futuristic stuff. That is, of course, use case dependent, and you have to make your own decisions. But if you use that framework, let's pick that one. I mean, there's many different ways of how to do it. I'm just saying, if you want to go a little bit by the book and try to interpret into it what you can do from your side, this would be the way to do it. So you pick ISO 27001 in that category. And what is in that category that's so useful? Yeah, I mean, reviewing the ISMS framework of your third party is always a good start because then, I mean, at least you speak the same language. I'm not saying if you don't review what they have and you anticipate what you have and you ask how they do it, you would go wrong. No, because at the end of the day, it's uh, the same objective. Yeah, there may be slightly different terminologies. Let's say they use NIST, you use ISO, then you may have some wordings where you don't speak the same language because you, even when you say like, oh, how about your information systems acquisitions and development and maintenance, and this there's no such category. I mean, it's all there, the same activities, yeah, because it's more like in the protect and identify area. But here it's more like yeah, what do I need to do when I acquire someone? Or sounds a little bit rough, but again, so ideally, long story short, you ask your provider about their information security management system and their framework, yeah, and how did they come up with it? How did they build it? You can ask them what for their security policy. They may not give it to you, but they may explain it to you. They may run you through the table of content first so that you can see, they have a special process for problem management. Well, everyone has. Yeah. Well, they have a special process for SIM, yeah, security incident event management. Oh, that must be comprehensive. If that's in the policy, there must be something going on. Again, it's not 100% guarantee that everything that's written there is done because they may have engaged a nice vendor who wrote it for them. But at least you know that they are aware of it and you can ask the questions. And if you're interested in a certain topic, you can zoom in and say, please explain to me your SIM. How do you do it? What kind of events are you tracking? Any past incidents, any records, any data, any facts. So and then they would know, okay, he's talking about that chapter. We have done some exercise recently, this. Yeah, so you're not coming out of the blue and trying to agree on the language and say, maybe you start off with logging monitoring and then you ask them how they monitor critical events and they can't really sort it in because they get the wrong guy on the phone. If you would have said the magic word SIM, they would have gotten the right person and he could explain to you what needs to be done. So yeah, reviewing that ISMS, using it as a framework to ask questions, great. Yeah. Reviewing risk assessment and treatment. That's, I think, the most important thing, because we all know we are not perfect. Yeah. These third-party vendors also have their own struggles and impediments. So if you ask them about the current risk situation, I mean, don't go deep in asking valuation, how much worth is the risk, what's the biggest damage value, but you can ask them some track record. What were the recent risks that they have mitigated? What kind of measures have they done? Was it successful? How did they check if these measures have been effective? Yeah. Then you can see if they're really working on a continuous improvement process. And that is what risk management is all about. It's never finishing. There's always another threat. There's always a risk that goes up. But if you stop moving in this topic, it just will pile up. And therefore, it's important that there's a continuous motion, there's a continuous effort, and the effort is smart, because the threats are getting exponential, and there's no way you can handle everything at the same time. There's not even a way to get ahead of the curve if you're not being innovative there. And that's important to see how they do this. And then, of course, defining an updated risk treatment plan together with them. So if, let's say, if you don't like certain areas that maybe they're weak in it, but you still like the overall concept of the vendor, how they work, and let's say I mean, there's also a bit of chemistry involved in all these things, so that the people are committed. But let's say if you say, well, you guys have not really good protection of exposure, and I will be the first client doing this and that, and you need to protect this a bit more, you should agree on a risk treatment plan. Don't dump them immediately and say, no, you're not good. Trust me, others won't be much better. And especially when you're already sure about 80% of the foundation, and you say these guys are committed, they work great, they know how to deal with it. They just may have not encountered situations like this, because, as I say, you might be the first client asking for it, but they would be willing to learn, understand, and implement it in a short period of time, which is still acceptable, because you're not running the business straight away next day. There will be still contractual agreements and stuff. So risk treatment plan, important thing, and the commitment to it and how they react. Yeah. Some adjustments of control, such as policies and procedures. You may put that also in your contract with them. Training and raising awareness, of course, both ways, not just training the vendor. You also have to adjust a little bit, because again, as a client, you are not the king. Yeah, it is a give and take. Yeah, and you have to help each other. So you have to train your own people how to deal with the vendor, to not make it complicated. Yeah, because some people are exploiting their vendors as well, and then they're wondering why they're not helping you out of goodwill in a very important situation later. Because you have been writing on the contract and say you have to respond to me in half a day, but you're sending a lot of useless requests. So you're torturing your vendor. Then, of course, they will, in response, just out of fatigue of managing this kind of stuff, they may also not always respond on other things which you find more important, but they're not contractually agreed. So you will be wondering how fast this boomerang comes back to you. Monitoring, measuring performance. Okay, I don't think I have to explain much on that one. Just define the right KPIs. Yeah, make it feasible, make it measurable, make it simple. Yeah, if you make a rocket science KPI, everyone can interpret a lot of things into it. It won't help you much afterwards when you say, wow, the definition of the KPI wasn't clear, we did that and you expected that. So do you really want these discussions? No, you rather keep it simple and keep it straight, explain everything, put it into your awareness training, and make sure that the KPIs are achievable as well, because again, no reason to exploit anything. Yeah. Performing internal audits. Yeah. And of course addressing the non-conformities out of such audits. And yeah, quickly my opinion on the right here. Addressing opportunities for improvement. Yeah, so phrase it positively. It's always an opportunity. Request permission to test the facts. That's something you should do at the very beginning, because otherwise you will have a hard time to get good evidence. I mean, you will get good written evidence, but if you really want to test it, ask before. Some don't like it, then stay away, because then they don't want to be helped. So don't do it. Yeah. Agreed points to be added to contract. And again, it's still at the end of the day a legal contract agreement that has to have everything in written.